Think I finally know what I actually want this channel to be. Because I remember I'm looking through ideas as really in my wrestling era. I'm like, damn, I love wrestling. But I kind of realized I love a lot of things, you know. And I think if anything, I want this channel to just be a place that I come to throw away all the nerd thoughts that infest my brain throughout the day. And that's kind of it. I think a problem I had was that I kept thinking I had to make certain videos. Like, oh, if I watch the wrestling show, like, oh, if I watch a certain wrestling show, or if I finish this certain game, I should make a video on it. But the reality is that like, if I consume a piece of media, like, what are the odds I really have, strong takes? Like, if I really love something or I really hate something, I would be inclined to express it. But the reality is that's not how I feel about most things, you know? Sometimes I consume a piece of media and it's just very okay, you know? I don't love it. I don't hate it. It has its good parts that I admire. But I think in my head I kind of felt like I guess like I had to. Okay, let's say this is a perfect example. Tom Taylor's Nightwing Run. Why can't I speak wrong? Tom Taylor's Nightwing Run. Okay, so it's like I think it's like 40 issues when you take out the crossovers and you include the Superboy side story. Like I finished Tom Taylor's Nightwing and it was like a solid seven, you know? Like there were things I loved about it and things I hated about it, but it didn't draw me in from like a passion perspective, you know? The things I loved, I didn't feel oh so inclined to share. And the things I hated, I didn't feel also inclined to share either. Like it was very much in the middle of the spectrum. It had its good parts. For example, I think Bruno Redondo. Oh my God, the art is so fucking good. I think it's issue 105, which is drawn completely from a first person POV. What a feat of art! Like just honestly, like that's super impressive. I love the art. I love how I don't know if the word is cozy. I love how cozy it feels, right? I love the first half of the story with the blockbuster shit, right? But I think the second half of the story completely falls apart and is very flawed. Has its cool moments, is very flawed, is too is too what's the word? It's too short but too long at the same time. It's too short in the sense where the ideas aren't explored deep enough for it to feel like rewarding, and it's too long in the sense where there's a lot of filler, so it feels like a drag at some points. That's kind of it. Like I feel like in a minute and a half, I just gave you all of my thoughts on Tom Taylor's Nightwing, but I felt like, oh, I read this thing. It was like a decent length. I have to talk about it, and I realized that like it like I felt like I was like, okay, if I'm talking about this, it has to be like at least like a 8 minute video to like justify it. And then I feel like I'm like dragging out my thoughts, so it's longer. I'm like giving context that you probably wouldn't even really need. Like it felt like I was making a video rather than just yapping about something I like, which I didn't enjoy. So I think I'm just going to try and yap about shit I want to yap about, which sounds really obvious, you know? So I don't really care what necessarily genre of media that thing is. Yeah, so if I watch a wrestling show and I feel very passionate about it, I'll probably make a video. But if I watch a wrestling show and I felt like it was super fucking mid, I'm not going to make a video about it just for the sake. Not even mid. Mid isn't the right word. Not it was mid, more that I didn't feel strongly about it, whether good or bad. I don't think mid is the correct word. Maybe passion is. I felt no. If I watch a wrestling show and I felt no passion for it, I'm not going to make a video on it just for the sake of making a video. That feels, I don't know. It just feels too much like work. I don't want this to be work. I just want this to be conversations I would have with myself that I'm instead choosing to document on the internet. That's what I want this to ideally be. Yeah. So I don't know what my next video is going to be. I've been reading I got into comics recently, like 4 months ago. There's nothing where like I think I want to do maybe like a comic rundown and just talk about shit I've read in general. Yeah. Yeah, not necessarily like full reviews or like um anything grand. Just a list of all the things I've read slash tried slash I'm currently reading and then like just how I feel about them. Yeah. I feel like that'd be fun. What do I do after that? Because you see, with that, I feel like it would be cool to document this first 4 months of me getting into comics, you know? Because I've always consumed comic adjacent media. I've always watched those cool, those YouTube videos like Comic Story Run, where he just goes to like a whole comic run. I've always watched stuff like that. I've never actually sat down and read the comics with my own two I, I guess eyes with my own two eyes, you know. So I got into that around the middle of August, August 15th, I think. I have it written down. I think I finished my first trade on August 18th. 18th. So I'm just kind of assuming that it would take me about 3 days to read, along with reading some other stuff. So I've been reading comics for almost August, September, October, November, December, almost exactly. Well, no, it's the 19th, so a bit over 4 months now. So I think it'd be cool to just talk about um where I am with comics, the shit I've liked, the shit I want to read, and the shit like that. You know, wrestling. I don't know how I feel about wrestling. WWE really left a sour taste in my mouth. I think I want to spend a lot of 2026 watching AEW. I feel like I watched everything WWE produced this year except like the what's it called, the Mexican company AAA. I didn't watch all of the AAA shows. I did watch some of them. I didn't watch all of NXT, but I did watch some of NXT. Right, so I effectively consumed a lot of what they essentially everything that they produced this year. Right, it was just very mid. It was really good when the year started, like January to I would say maybe well not SummerSlam was August, so maybe like June, January to June, the first half of the year. That was cool. Had its ups and its downs, but it was still fun. But I feel like July to December was kind of a fucking drag, you know. So I'm still going to watch like PLEs because I love the wrestlers that work there. I think I'd be doing myself a disservice to sit down and sit down and watch the weekly shows every week. You know, just didn't feel like the best use of my time on most days. I also want to get back into anime slash manga. Like I kind of haven't watched an anime beginning to end in so fucking long. Well, okay, no. Technically, I did watch Vinland Saga when it came out, season two. I think COVID. COVID, I was watching. I think I watched the most anime in my life in COVID, and like a bit after COVID, like 2020 to 2022. I probably watched the most anime I've ever watched in the span of 2 years ever, and then and reading manga as well. Like I caught up on like everything, not everything, but like a lot of things. I think since let's say the end of 2022, I haven't really engaged with the anime slash manga medium. I've done some stuff. I was reading JJK weekly that when that Gojo Sukuna shit happened because that was just too entertaining, you know. I finished Vinland Saga, but if in 3 years all I've done is finish the Vinland Saga manga and read JJK, like I haven't really engaged with the medium. So I think I want to get back into it, but kind of from a short term perspective, if that makes any sense. Like I want to give it X amount of time and like clean up on the things I haven't seen. So less of like finding the rare, obscure, the animes that nobody's seen and like falling in love with them, and more just rounding out the things that kind of make up the anime community pop culture, if that makes sense. Like get finish all the things related to that that I haven't yet consumed, and then take another break from it, and then maybe in like 5 years catch up on all the shit I've missed in that break because I would have consumed like not all there is to consume, but I would have gotten most of it. Because one thing I realized, I used to be really insecure about not having a thing. I feel like most people they have this thing that they love, and I felt like I could never commit to that like a thing. Like, but I used to be really sad about it because I kind of felt like left out and like something was wrong with me. But I think getting older, that that reality is something I'm more okay with. Yeah, 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 yeah. So I think I enjoy media the most when I give some what's the word, some medium a chance, and I invest in that medium for a year, 2 years, however long it might be, and then I kind of get my fill, and I'm like, okay, this was fun. I want to do something else now. I feel like that's kind of where I feel the most. I don't know. I don't know the word. I don't know the word I'm looking for. I think I want to do that. I think it's most like I want to explore a bunch of things, a bunch of different mediums of storytelling, and just so I can say, oh yeah, I used to do that. Yeah, yeah, and it stops it from getting what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, annoying. I feel like the more you delve into something, the like it loses some of its magic. You know, like for example, using the same anime example in 2020 to 2022, like there was a point in that where I was like times two speeding shows that I knew were trash, just so I could say like I technically finished this. You know, like think about that. I'm supposed to be like consuming this media, or consuming this media through this medium that I love, and I'm here like times two speeding this show because I know it's a seven. It's a seven out of ten. It's very very mid, very very average. I just can't prove that without watching it. So I times two speed it so to finish it faster, so I can say, okay, I watched it. This is a seven. You know, I feel like once I get to that point where I'm doing shit like that, it's time to switch hobbies. So I want to develop this base of hobbies. So whenever I get too far into something and it starts to become a drag, say, this isn't fun anymore, and do something else. You know? So I think, yeah, I think that's what I want to do. But I'm running into this problem where I'm not sure what to do next year because I really enjoy just planning in what's the word, in the currency, not currency. I like planning out my year as a whole, if that makes sense. Like, what am I going to do this year? Yeah, I really enjoy that. So, so because I have like there's wrestling, I feel like this year was definitely the wrestling year. And then when wrestling got annoying, it kind of switched to comics a bit, with a bit of video games sprinkled in between, right? I'm not sure if next year is wrestling's year. Or maybe next year will be the perfect combination of everything, you know? And maybe I don't need to necessarily put on that pressure of finding the next thing to invest in because I think I have a nice core now of comics which I love, anime slash manga which I still love, video games. Yeah, video games definitely, wrestling, right? And a bit of music. I don't know if I'll make videos on music though. I do one out of music based rants, but music to me is so personalized. Like I know like all art is subjective, right? Sure. People love to say that. Sure. I feel like music is probably the most subjective form of art. So if I were to make a video on music, it would just be me talking about shit I like. But I don't know. I feel like that's less. Maybe not entertaining is the right word. But like the reason why I like this doesn't necessarily have to resonate with you, and it's harder to explain through music. Like for example, Miles. I love Miles. I listen to him like once a week. I'll just be scrolling TikTok, and his song will come up. Then I'll go on YouTube and listen to like five songs. Like maybe not once a week, probably once a month. Right? And then I'm just laughing my ass off. I think Miles is hilarious, right? But I feel like it's harder to explain that if it's just not funny to you. Like if I play the song for you and it is just noise to you, like even though I disagree, I can so get that, because it is really just so subjective. Where I feel like with other forms of media, like you can tell when a story is just lame as fuck, You can tell when the author didn't really care, or the animation studio were not trying, or they just did this thing to get some quick money. Like you can tell when there is no love in a piece of art. But I don't know if music is so undefinable for me. I don't know if I would argue the same thing. So I could make a video of just talking about songs I like, but it would feel weird to me because I really like using logical points to explain why I like the thing I like. But with music, you'll just be like, that that hi hat sounds nice, you know. Like I wouldn't have as much in depth. Like I don't know the word, but I don't think it would be as cool. I don't know. Maybe that's like a false pretense, but yeah, that's what I feel. So I do love music. It's probably my favorite form of media, but I don't wanna sit here and like try and explain to you why I think this shit's fire. You know? And I'm not sure if I even could. I'm not sure if I even could, besides just like how you convince someone of that besides them just listening to it and forming their own opinion. Like what can I really say? Like what if you listen to the chords at a minute and 30 seconds, like that's a HTP chord, and that chord is actually so hard to like. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. Come on, bro. So I don't know if I would make videos about music, but I don't know. I feel like these four things I have now, these four hobbies, I like them, and if a large amount of time goes by and I can't find something to talk about in these from these from these four pieces of media, then clearly I need new hobbies because all the shit fucking sucks. You know? So I don't know. We'll see. Maybe what I'll do is that I'll just throw some shit together. Like I'll just be like January comic update. And I'll just talk about everything I read in January and like how I feel about it. So for example, going back to the same Nightwing thing, like that's a video I could shove that in and it would be fine because my 2 minute review would be acceptable in that format. I wouldn't have to make a whole video and like make up points just to get the video at a certain length. I could just shove them all in one long video and it'd be cooler. So I might actually I might drop my next video might literally be my first 4 months of reading comics. Yeah. Loki, I'm gonna start working on that right now. Thank you for listening.